Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from PocketNow.com, filming from the recording studio here, really just some foam panels on the wall to help absorb the sound, because we're about to unbox the HTC Sensation. The HTC Sensation is HTC's top-of-the-line flagship phone for 2011. That means we're going to see it on a lot of carriers and a lot of different versions. It's the phone that people want from HTC. It is their first dual-core phone. It is their first QHD display on an HTC handset, finally breaking away from the single-core WVGA specs that we saw for many generations of devices now from HTC. It's running the latest version of Android, version 2.3, and it's going right up against the Galaxy S2 just released by Samsung. Although the Galaxy S2 in some ways is actually better than the Sensation, but in other ways not as good as the Sensation. We're going to have a head-to-head and talk all about that in an upcoming video. But first, let's unbox the Sensation. Let's get to it. Alright, and let's do it. Now you know the drill here. This is an unlocked phone, high-end, brand new, so it's going to be expensive. You can get this right now from negrielectronics.com, and it's going to cost you about $750. Of course, when it comes onto T-Mobile in the US, it'll be around $200, $250, and of course, around the world, it will be offered at a subsidized price, but if you want to get it right now, you gotta pay. So here it is, HTC Sensation. The design is very similar to all previous HTC devices. They've settled on this same form factor, sort of a slate-like form factor with a curved display, or a curved earpiece, front-facing camera, light sensor. Let's move around the box. This is actually the Vodafone version right now, but if we turn it over to the back, we'll take a look at the bands here. We got the AWS band, and we'll zoom in. And in order to get this to work on T-Mobile's 3G network, you need AWS and 2100, which we have right there, which is very exciting. Whether this supports HSPA+, thus being able to get onto T-Mobile's 4G network, remains to be seen. We're going to put in a SIM card in a minute and test that out. Here it is, 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, 768 megabytes of RAM, which is interesting. Samsung's going with a full gigabyte of RAM. Motorola's going with a gigabyte of RAM for their high-end devices. HTC's keeping it at just 768. It's a very thin device. This is all in another language. 8 megapixel camera with 1080p video capture, VGA front-facing camera. All right, let's actually open it up here. All right, and here it goes. HTC Sensation, HTC's 2011 flagship device. You can already feel that it's very thin in hand. It feels a lot lighter than the Desire HD, which is, of course, HTC's 2010 flagship. We're going to compare the two devices in a minute. Let's see if there's anything interesting in the box. These days, there's usually not. Okay, well, that's enough. Let's take a look at the HTC Sensation here. So we're going to take off the sticker. Wow, really cool backing here, sort of a tricolor design. So we've got silver, it looks to be sort of a gray, and then some soft touch plastic here. Really interesting design. We've got a volume rocker here. What's really cool about the Sensation is that it has a slightly curved glass display. And it's very, very tough to tell on camera, but it just adds a nice little visual touch to it. So let's take off the back battery cover and boot it up while we compare it to other devices, and who knows how you get this thing off. Actually, pretty easily. So here we go, comes off like so, and we've got a battery which is probably 1560 milliamp hours, 1520 milliamp hours, and we're going to slide a T-Mobile SIM card right into the SIM card slot and hopefully be able to tell if we can get HSPA+ connectivity. And let's see how big the storage card is. 8 gigabytes, class 4 here. So not bad. There's about a gigabyte of ROM included. So right out of the box, you get about 9 gigabytes of storage space. Not that impressive, but certainly pretty good. We'll put the cover back on here. Wow, really weird how this fits on. Totally different than any other HTC devices. Kind of going to take some practice to get used to. Okay, there we go. And let's boot it up. And while it's booting up, let's take a look at how this device compares to its predecessor, the Desire HD, which of course was spec'd very similarly, has the same amount of RAM, same size screen. What's really different is the processor, 1.2 gigahertz dual core here, 1 gigahertz single core here, and the amount of the amount of pixels on the screen. So 960 down by 540 across. There's the Vodafone logo. And so you get a different aspect ratio, as you can see here, much more widescreen compared to the 800 down by 480 across. Well, right off the bat, it's really interesting to see HTC with this higher resolution display. The notification screen or bar up here is so much thinner because the pixels are smaller than we found on previous HTC devices. And of course, we get the newest version of HTC Sense, HTC Sense 3.0. So many changes. This is the most dramatic overhaul to HTC Sense since the beginning. And here it is next to the Galaxy S2, which we're going to compare both of these devices in a future video. But as a little bit of a preview, we've got a different CPU here, more RAM. This device is thinner, but the main downside to the Galaxy S2 compared to the Sensation is that the screen resolution is lower. So you get the kind of old school, now at this point in 2011, WVGA screen here. And of course you get the full QHD resolution in the HTC Sensation. So we're going to skip that. Okay, finally we're getting here to the home screen on the HTC Sensation. Again, this screen really pops. It's a super LCD display. Quite high resolution compared to previous generation HTC devices. Let's jump into the web real quick. Just want to see what happens in terms of internet connectivity. Looks like a little bit of setup is required to get it to work. Hopefully it'll work seamlessly on T-Mobile's network, but we've got a lot more coming up. We'll mess with it and talk about it. We'll also post some first impressions on PocketNow.com, but it's thin, it's light, it feels less substantial than the Desire HD, which may be a good or bad thing depending on if you like a heavy device or not, but it's got a lot of fit and finish, especially with this really sweet curved display, just a very smooth looking device. HTC's high-end for 2011 is here, the Sensation. We've got a ton more coming up talking about this device. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. That's it for now.